Hello, I'm Ignace Aleya from ColoratedCinematics.com, and today I will be showing you how to create this. That looks pretty awesome. Open up After Effects and let's start creating. Here we are in Adobe After Effects, and as you can see right here, I'm a zombie. In this tutorial we are going to focus on the eyes, and in a next tutorial I will be talking about how I did the face. As you can see right now, we will be doing the eye right here. If we go back right here, you can actually see the complete face if I unsolo everything. And there we go. So the original is looking like this, and then we will edit it to look like this. This will be a two-part tutorial, so be sure to check back tomorrow. So we have the footage right here. I will put a link in the description so you can actually work on the same footage that I am using. One thing that I have done is I exported my footage and exported it as a JPEG sequence. This is for tracking later in part 2, so you can just add this to the render queue and export it as a JPEG image sequence and then import it as a JPEG image sequence. So I'll drag this into a new composition. You have me here looking into the camera. I won't be concentrating on the first part right here. This is just rotoscoping the eye to actually open with my eyes. I will just trim my comp and press B on the keyboard right here, and then for like a few seconds press N. And then I'm going to trim comp to work area, so we just have a few seconds to work with, because that will be enough to actually explain the way I have done this effect, and then it's up to you to just make it longer. We have the footage. First thing that I will do is create a new null object, and I'm going to call this track right eye. And right here we have the footage. Actually my right eye is this one, not this one, so I'm going to be demonstrating the actual right eye in real life. So I will only cover one eye as the effects are applied to both of these eyes. So once you know how to do one, you know how to do both. So click on the footage, go to tracker, track motion. If you don't see tracker, go to window, tracker right here, and then well, track motion. We will track the position and the rotation. Zoom in. For the first point, we're going to place it somewhere around here, make it long, a little bit longer here, so we have a little bit more information to work with, and put it a little bit more to the left maybe. Something that is static, that doesn't move, but my eyes are open all the time, so this should work perfectly for a track. And then we can make this larger as well, and that will also concentrate on the rotation of my eye. So we have my tracking points, and I'm at the beginning of my timeline right here, and I will click track forward. Alright, I noticed something went wrong right over here, so what I will do is I'll zoom in, make this also a little bit bigger, and this even bigger, so that should fix the problem. Alright, apart from that, I think everything went great. Let me check. Alright, we have a perfect track. I will edit my target and make sure the layer selected is the null object, so the track right eye. Click OK. Then click on the apply button and X and Y, click OK, and there we have the null following my eye right now with the correct rotations. Once you have done that, we will create a new composition, make this 500 and 500 in height as well, and rename this to eye design. Okay. Right here I will create a new null, a new solid, and actually for the color, so I'll rename this to background. I will actually use the color of my eye right here, so I'm going to actually pick that color right here somewhere, and there we go. Maybe make it a little bit brighter, so we can take something like this, copy the code, go back to the eye design, yeah, just paste it over here, layer, solid settings, color, paste it, okay, and okay. Right click, new solid, and right here we are going to pick a dark blue color, grayish kind of color, something like this, and click OK, and make this the actual eye. Then we're going to the ellipse tool right here for the mask and double click on it so it's actually a perfect circle. Double click on the mask, and then while holding Ctrl and Shift, you can make this smaller so you only have the eye here. Hit enter, and now we have the eye like so. Go back to your original comp here, and I'm actually going to close all my other comps from when I was actually designing this thing. I'm going to rename my composition to main comp hit, so I know it's for the tutorial. So I will be using this eye design here, so let me drag that into my composition right here, and I'm going to scale it down actually, and right here I'm just going to lower my opacity and to make it match with my actual eye. So zoom in and scale down. And there we go. So now everything should work perfectly, and what I will do now is press T on the keyboard, make it 100% again, and parent this with the null. Uncheck this layer, and now we're going to actually make a mask for this layer. So just make sure you only mask the white part of your eye, and actually you can overlap the red areas here because we're going to bring them back, yeah, very soon actually. So make a mask like this using the pen tool. And there we go, this should work fine, and if we check it on again, press F on the keyboard, feather it like 5 pixels, and press M twice on the keyboard, MM, to lower the expansion to -2 or so, and let's see what we have. Maybe just -1 should work. Okay. So now let's check. We have our eye right here, and it's looking pretty realistic. I think we're done here. We now have a zombie eye. Alright, okay, so this looks very flat and very fake. We will solve this very soon. Just check if everything looks fine. Play it a little bit here. This looks okay. What you can do is uncheck it again, click on the stopwatch for mask path, and then just script through your timeline and just adjust this mask a little bit, because right here you can see my eyes are a little bit closed, and just do it like this, and then go in the middle of your timeline and check it again, maybe right here. This looks okay, and just check all the areas here to make sure everything keeps in position. So once we have done that, we can actually duplicate our eye design. I'm going to rename it to actually mask, so we can use it as a mask, create another color, something like pink, and then we're going to create a new solid layer actually, and click on the color for the red tones here, so click OK, and I'm going to uncheck this, zoom in here, and actually make a new mask, but I'm going to uncheck my eye design as well, and just make a new mask like this here. So I'm only covering the white areas now, and there we go. And I'm going to make it subtract. Now you can see if we feather this just a touch here and make this alpha matte for the mask, so the mask is actually the same as the eye design. So we're going to look at that information to just show the inside here and show the eye here. And now we get these shadows as well. So just make sure the tones are correct, so I can see my solid layer has actually brighter colors than the actual shadows here. So let's see what we have here. And of course you can tweak things, so press MM on the keyboard again, play with the expansion here, play with the feathering to just make it look great. So I think we're getting there in this matter. Okay. So now once we have done that, we can jump back into the eye design here. So what I will do here is actually duplicate my mask for the eye, duplicate it and make it subtract, and then press F on the keyboard and feather this. And also feather the first mask to something like 3 pixels, so not because nothing is actually perfect, or something like 2 pixels will also be fine. Now we can duplicate our eye again, and then for the second one we will also make it even larger here, so we are covering a little bit more of our eye, and then just lower the actual opacities to something like 20, and the second eye to 25 maybe, or 35. And now we can create a new solid and just use like, well, doesn't really matter, rename it to fractal noise, and we're going to pick a fractal noise here, so just to give some variation in the colors, so nothing really fancy going on, but just like this, and then just change it to maybe a soft light, or maybe a multiply will also work, and just lower the opacity, and there we get some a little bit of randomness in the colors, so, and that's all we wanted. Then I'm also going to create a new solid, and I'm going to call this vines. Okay, call this vines. Go to effects and presets and search for advanced lightning, and then we're going to apply this to our solid, and right here we have our lightning. I'm going to change the lightning type to breaking. Okay, and then go to the glow settings and change this to a dark red color, something like this, and then change the radius to 25, the opacity to 15 or so, and change the actual core settings to also a very dark red color. And now we have our blood vines. Actually, it looks like some blood in the eyes. We can duplicate our effect, duplicate the solid, and move our actual lightning, make it go in another direction. You can also play with the conductivity state and just move this around until you're satisfied, and duplicate it again, and just keep moving it until you have some blood vines going on right here. Also play with the core settings, so maybe make it a little bit smaller here, your radius. And you can also add some blur, so some Gaussian blur here. And just keep on stacking all these lightning effects, and there we go. So now once you have all the lightning effects, you can also play with the opacity here, maybe make some a little bit brighter than others. Then once you're satisfied, select all of them, go to layer, pre-compose, and yeah, just save them as vines. Click on your circle, well, ellipse tool here for the mask, and we're going to hold Control and drag some circle like this, and create it as a subtract mask, and press F on the keyboard and feather it like so. Then also I'm going to lower the opacity in general, and maybe change the blending mode. You can toggle through all the blending modes if you want to, and this one is also pretty cool. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to keep it at normal, and I'm going to just make it very hard to see, and duplicate it, and maybe rotate it a bit so we get more information in there, and duplicate it more, maybe make it smaller like so. Just play around with these settings so you get some blood vines. And if we go back, you can actually already see our blood right here on our eye, so that's looking pretty cool. Once you have done that, we can actually take an image here, whatever image I have here, an image of a landscape. I'm going to paste this in here, and this is going to be our reflection, so I'm going to make this a lot smaller, of course, and just toggle through the blending modes. Maybe soft light will be fine. I think this looks pretty nice. And we're going to just color correction, hue saturation, lower the saturation a touch, and go for a blur, so add a little bit of blur here, and we're going to soften this just a bit. Also play with the opacity until you're satisfied, and if we go back, we get some reflection in our eye, which is going to make it look a little bit better as well. You can also find a grunge texture online, so just Google for grunge and bring this in here, or go for a classic color burn here, and then we're going to lower the opacity as well, and also scale it down to give it some grunge looking texture in the eye, like so. Then I'm going to create a new solid, and actually take the color of our background and just make it a touch darker here. Click OK and OK. and then take my rectangular mask tool, and I'm going to drag something in the middle here, something like this, and press F on the keyboard, feather this like so, and I'm going to bring down the opacity just to make the top area a little bit darker. You can see right here it's getting a little bit darker, and yeah, that's what I wanted, so that's alright. You can also bring the mask a little bit more down, and maybe don't feather it as much so you get some texture in the eye. Then once you have done that, we can still keep on stacking things and just be creative, just try to find your own ways to do these things. And then I'm going to take a bright color here, click OK and OK, and I'm going to mask a just a shape, something like this here, and feather this just a bit and play with the settings again. So maybe a soft light, and bring down the opacity here, duplicate it maybe, and put one over here, and there we go. Go back, and now we have some reflection in our eye. So there we go, we almost have everything. We just need a little bit more shadow here on top of our eye, and maybe add some more blood vines here on the side, so we can actually take our vines here, put it on top, and just make them pop a little bit more. And if we go back, you can actually see some blood here. So I'm going to make the mask here a little bit larger, so I'm not sure why this is doing this, but just make it a little bit larger. It doesn't really matter right now, but now we get some blood right here. So press F on the keyboard, feather this a little bit more, and press M twice so we can actually get the mask expansion here and make it fade out like so. Okay, there we go. Now we have a nice eye here. And then lastly, we can actually play a little bit with color correction. So add a new adjustment layer here. Go for effect, color correction, curves, and just make it darker. So you can choose everything that you want. There we go. I'm actually going to check off my null here so we can actually see my eye. And now the last thing we have to do is just duplicate this part here. So duplicate this, maybe make it a different color, and actually this, we're also going to give it a pink color here so we can actually see these are together. And then for this one, I'm just going to bring down the top part here. And there we go. Press F on the keyboard to feather it less. And also the expansion, we're going to play a little bit with this. I'm going to change the color to something different, so we'll go to Layer, Solid Settings, and click on just a dark brown color here. Okay, just a little bit of feather here. And actually for the mask, I'm also going to expand this just a bit. And there we go, so now we have our shadow, and just bring down the opacity until you are satisfied. Just don't exaggerate with anything. But there we go, we have our eye, and if we are going to play this back, this is looking pretty cool. Alrighty. And maybe just lower the opacity for the actual eye, because I think it's a little bit too much. So there we go. A little bit more. And this should be perfect. Okay, so now what I have done as well is actually created a new solid layer and chose that brown color of the other layer, the first layer. And I'm going to rename this to shadow and uncheck this as well. And then pick my pen tool, and right here at this area I will just draw something like this. And this is the only thing that I'll show before the actual face tutorial. But if we check this on and go for soft light, press F on the keyboard and feather this, we're actually going to get this. Also parent this with the track right eye here. And this is going to blend it a little bit better, and it's actually going to give that dark zombie look. Also the reflections are maybe a little bit too much, so you can actually play with the opacity here. There we go. So you can see this is really making a big difference. You can play with the color if you want to, but this is basically how to get your zombie eye, and then tune back in here tomorrow for the next tutorial, and also for the reflection. I think it's a little bit too much. So these are all things that you just see, you check, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you tweak it. So that's what you should be doing here, and there we have it. So that looks really cool. We now have one zombie eye, one normal eye. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give it a like. Also subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.